In this COVID-19 era, many Ghanaians have seen the need for a financial fallback plan. If you're looking to improve your financial situation or need reliable information to make sound financial decisions, join the Access Money Show, a weekly interactive session hosted by Access Pension Trust. On Access Money, we feature industry experts to cover various personal finance topics and share the success stories of sound investment decisions. Access Money, Wednesdays at 9:30 a.m. on Sunny FM. Access Pension Trust, a reliable partner in pensions.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Access Money Show. It's an interactive session where we talk about personal finance and retirement planning related topics. Remember, this program is proudly brought to you by Access Pension Trust, a leading private pension provider. My name is Mimian Aniapia and I'll be your host. In celebration of Mother's Day, we have with us here Danswa Adote, a mom of two strong boys, and Alexandra Eyubi Akwa. She's also a mom of one awesome boy, and both career women. And we are going to be discussing financial independence and motherhood. Welcome.
Thank you.
We are very lucky and privileged to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Before we continue our discussion, let's take a quick word from our sponsors. And when we get back, we'll have an awesome discussion with these two beautiful ladies. The beginning of the new year presents an opportunity for you to assess and review your retirement plan. Will your projected retirement benefits be enough to meet your desired retirement lifestyle? There's a lot you can do this year to improve your retirement prospects. Here are some of the tips you can consider. Review your retirement fund statement. If you should maintain the same retirement savings strategy, will you be able to achieve your retirement income goals? Take advantage of the Tier 3 Provident Fund and the personal pension scheme. The Tier 3 is a tax-efficient way of saving for your retirement. Avoid withdrawing from your pension funds prematurely, as you might miss out on long-term benefits of compound interest of your funds. Pension advisors are available at Access to guide you to improve your retirement prospects. Visit our website to learn more. Access Pension Trust, your reliable partner in pension.
Auntie Mary, give me fufu 10 cedis, Willie 6 cedis, goat's meat, apapo 12 cedis, and chicken thighs, fat one 8 cedis.
Okay, right away.
Sauce kaleke, payday is good. Add beer 1 wine.
In the hustle and bustle of life, retirement considerations
Next year
are often relegated to the bottom of our collective financial agenda until retirement hits you unprepared. Living on a meager retirement income can be traumatic and stressful, as you can no longer afford to live life the way you want.
Can I have fufu 50 pesos, goat's meat 1 cedi, and chicken thighs small 50 pesos?
Hey, please, we don't sell adunle and achomo here. Go to the next store.
Hey, adu yawao.
Welcome back. Remember, this program is proudly brought to you by Access Pension Trust, your reliable partner in pensions. As I mentioned earlier on, we have two awesome ladies with us. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
I hope it was quite easy getting here.
Yes. Very simple.
Very simple. Okay, that's great. These days, mothers play a bigger role when it comes to family finances. In some cases, they are the main breadwinner. This means that we have to take our finances more seriously as mothers so that we are able to manage our resources better and pass on good money habits to our kids. Today we have with us, as I mentioned already, two very experienced mothers. Let's start with Danswa. How has having children impacted your personal finances?
Well, as a mom yourself, I think you know that children are expensive.
Yes,
they come with, they're precious, but they come with a lot of added things. I wouldn't say it has really affected my personal finances per se, except that now allocation needs to be made for the kids, not only present, but also future. I was the last of my friends to get married, so I think I had the benefit of seeing some of the things that they had to do and the time to prepare for it. So not necessarily a strain, but definitely a conscious attempt to make sure that you're putting enough away for your kids so that they can have the kind of life that you want them to have.
Yes, you mentioned that you were the last of your friends to get married. Would you say that time also was an advantage for you to, plan adequately?
Yes, it definitely was. It definitely was. I think, you know how society is, and you have timestamps for everything, and you can sometimes get into the frame of mind where you think you're being left behind. But if you see moments for what they are, the opportunities that they present to you, you can take advantage of them. And I think that I had the benefit of that time to put more aside, other than in comparison to someone who probably may have married earlier, because I had been working for much longer, risen within ranks at my office. So that also gave me the opportunity to put some money away.
Yes, there's an opportunity in every situation. That's what I picked from what Nancy said. Alex, I know your situation is different. How did, becoming a mom affect your personal finances?
So my son was pretty unexpected. It was right after school.
Okay.
So I didn't have the opportunity to plan ahead financially. But getting into motherhood, I realized very early that I needed to make the most of my situation financially. And I've been very, very passionate about making sure you're financially independent before you go on any life journey, whether it's becoming a wife or especially becoming a mother. Because like you mentioned earlier, now women are playing a bigger role financially in the family. And in my case, I'm the breadwinner. So if you're not able to understand what that means and how that impacts the quality of life you're able to give to your child, it would really be a setback that you would struggle with for a long time. And unfortunately, it might also affect the kind of child you bring up, because you don't have the resources that money affords you to be able to make certain things they need available. And so as soon as I understood what that meant, I had to get my money life organized. And I've been doing that little by little. But being the sole breadwinner of a family is definitely financially tasking.
Yeah.
It's not a small thing.
Yes.
You have to save, you have your running costs, you also have to make sure that in case of an emergency, there's money stashed. And if your income is not enough to allow you to meet all of these things, it becomes a bit of a challenge. You need to depend on family, you need to depend on friends, which is not the most ideal situation. Yeah. So, that was my experience for, I'm still in my early years with my motherhood, so that's pretty much been it. But I'm aware of what the goal is, and I'm trying.
I love the fact that we are coming from two different places, and I trust that our audience will leave with, a lot of knowledge, regardless of where they find themselves in the motherhood journey. So in terms of personal finances, and so I know you had the opportunity to observe your friends and learn, but I'm sure becoming a mom, there are things that you wish you had known, before. And would you like to share that with us?
Yeah, definitely. I think that I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and we said parenting is something that you have to experience to really understand, because I don't know how much you can anticipate, so there's only so much that you can anticipate. So off the top of my head, you're thinking about school, you're thinking about health, but you may have a child with peculiar needs. You may realize that you can't do it all on your own, and so you need help. And these may not be things that you had considered ahead of having the kids. So I wish I had known some of these things so that you can adequately prepare, so that they don't come and add on to your expenses. But at the same time, I'm mindful that you can't know everything, and you can't anticipate everything. There are some things you anticipate that never happen. Thank God for that. And there are some things that just blindside you. But I think what I try to do is let people know the real picture of parenting, the ups and downs. We often just box parenting as a blessing, and it is a blessing. It is a blessing, but it does come with huge responsibility, one of them being financial responsibility. as well, where you want your kids to go to school, how you want them to be socialized, even understanding the cost of some of these things. If you know in advance, at least you can prepare. You don't necessarily have to do everything everybody else is doing, but you can determine that these are the kind of experiences I want my child to have. This is how much it's going to cost me, and therefore I'm either going to cut back on some things or I'm going to look for other sources of income to make sure that I can provide.
Okay. Just to, piggyback on something you said, you mentioned, what I picked from what you said is intention. I think that's something that we don't do too well in this side of town. I mean, it's more of take your kids to school, but you mentioned experiences, the kind of schools they go to. So it's not just that you're ticking the school box, but you want to expose them rightly so that they're able to, come out right.
Yeah.
Alex, what has your experience been like? What do you wish you had known better?
Saving from school. I had the habit, but it just never felt like it was enough. There was always a need that involved me going back into my savings. But I think being very disciplined with my savings and probably taking on jobs while I was in school to be able to build my capital base, I think that's my biggest regret. I didn't anticipate becoming a mom right after school, so I never prepared for it. And so when it came, it was definitely a bit of a blowback, and I was dependent on my family for a while before I was able to find my feet. So definitely using my university days for a lot more than just going to class.
And chilling. Yeah, I like what you said about discipline, because I tend to find out that a lot of us save and invest, but the issue is about the discipline. It's about being able to do it for a longer period and with some objective. So thank you so much for that. So what are some of the challenges you encountered or you have encountered in your journey so far as a mom, and how did you deal with it? Alex, I'll start with you.
Money is never enough. Money is never ever enough.
Yeah.
You really have to, what I've come to appreciate is delayed gratification on a lot of the things that you like. I mean, there are times when I think I've gone a whole month without washing my hair, because even 20 cedis to wash your hair, it's not that. It's either that or you're buying something that he needs. So that's one of the things that I've had to come to learn, and also being vulnerable enough to ask for help financially when you need it from people that you trust. Because if you are going to put your resources into every time that there's an issue, maybe when it really calls for it and you are the only person that can provide that financial relief, you may have depleted all your resources, and that may not be to your advantage. And so one of the things I've also had to painfully learn is being able to shout when I need help financially from my family, which wasn't something I was comfortable with in the beginning, but I only learned that last year, getting to the end of last year, that I can't pick up the phone and tell my dad that I'm in a difficult situation and I need his help. So that has also been a learning curve financially for me. I'm still not comfortable with it, and the idea is never to get comfortable with it, but to understand what the seasons and times are and what the goal is.
Yeah, and I always feel like tough times build certain skills that a lot of the time we are not aware of, and that is part of our success story. Yeah, so it will definitely get better. Yes, Nanswa, what challenges?
Yeah, well, I think definitely, like Alex said, it's delayed gratification. I mean, you're a person yourself, but I think, especially as mothers, you always put your children's needs before yours. You could have a list of things that you need, but if you know your child needs one thing, you're willing to sacrifice, or you should be willing to sacrifice that in order to cater to your child. One other challenge, which probably not a personal challenge, but something that I find in our society, is products and avenues to invest for your children. Everybody's talking about save, invest, but you don't really find things that are tailor-made, things that even help the children themselves to have a savings habit and know that, okay, mommy and daddy may give me money here and there, but I'm also going to put something aside. I have scouted, you and I have had personal conversations about this, and I think that that's a gap in our society that we need to fill, so that, you know, when you're planning or when you're trying to be intentional about something, you're very clear on the outcome, but not, you know, very unsure. And in Ghana, especially, what has happened in the last quarter, it's happened in the past, but especially in the last quarter, where the CD has just done a complete free fall and the prices of things have just shot up. If you don't have the right saving instruments, even though you're saving, you're realizing that the net value of your assets or whatever you're putting away is depleting. So I think that there is a gap as far as the products are concerned, and that can be challenging for mothers, parents as well.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on the increment, and I think that has been quite difficult for a lot of mothers. I mean, everybody. Yes.
I mean, I went to the shop to buy unsalted. You know, I have a baby who's now starting solids, and I knew the price was about 15 cedis. And so I put it on the counter, it was like 30 cedis, and I did a double take. And I was like, are you sure? Can I check? Is that, and you know, I've been hearing price increase, but I hadn't anticipated that things would like literally double overnight. The cost of diapers, the cost of wipes. Thankfully, I had another way of getting those products, so I haven't really felt the pinch of those things. But I know that in some cases they've doubled, they've gone up by 75%, and it's a strain, it's a toll. It's not something you can run away from. And so we need investment products that can, I don't know how you can cater to inflation and things like that, but some things that are more steady and robust in relation to the kind of economic climate that we live in. Yeah.
Interesting. Let's take a short break from our sponsors, and when we get back, we'll talk about how their childhood experiences shaped their relationship with money.
Auntie Mary, give me fufu 10 cedis, Willie 6 cedis, goat's meat, apapo 12 cedis, and chicken thighs, fat one 8 cedis.
Okay, right away.
Sauce kaleke, payday is good. Add beer 1 wine.
In the hustle and bustle of life, retirement considerations
Next year.
are often relegated to the bottom of our collective financial agenda until retirement hits you unprepared. Living on a meager retirement income can be traumatic and stressful, as you can no longer afford to live life the way you want.
Can I have fufu 50 pesos, goat's meat 1 cedi, and chicken thighs small 50 pesos?
Hey, please, we don't sell adunle and achomo here. Oh. Go to the next store.
Hey, adu yawao.
The beginning of the new year presents an opportunity for you to assess and review your retirement plan. Will your projected retirement benefits be enough to meet your desired retirement lifestyle? There's a lot you can do this year to improve your retirement prospects. Here are some of the tips you can consider. Review your retirement fund statement. If you should maintain the same retirement savings strategy, will you be able to achieve your retirement income goals? Take advantage of the Tier 3 Provident Fund and the Personal Pension Scheme. The Tier 3 is a tax-efficient way of saving for your retirement. Avoid withdrawing from your pension funds prematurely, as you might miss out on long-term benefits of compound interest of your funds. Pension advisors are available at Axis to guide you to improve your retirement prospects. Visit our website to learn more. Axis Pension Trust, your reliable partner in pension. Welcome back. Remember, this program is proudly brought to you by Axis Pension Trust, your reliable partner in pensions. Before we left, we were talking about some of the challenges we faced on our motherhood journey. We want to go into our childhood experiences and how that shaped your relationship with money. Because I realized mine did have an impact on how I treat money now. Danswa, what was your situation like?
Definitely, yes. My dad has a saying. I think I approach money with a very optimistic view. My dad has a saying, and he always says, "He who dares wins." He's ever willing to try things. Obviously, you have to be cautious when you're trying new things. But apart from that, as children, he bought us these money saving sets, and they were like piggy banks. And they were actually shaped like pigs, and it was a pig family. So you had the baby pig, the teen pig, the mother pig, and when you save and the baby pig is full, you graduate to, I mean, even now, like I remember it very, very fondly. And one, it taught me to save. Two, it helped me to realize that, you can, having money helps in status, right? Not a societal thing, but for your own purpose. The more you have, the more you can do. And I think from about the age of 8 or 9, I started getting a weekly allowance. So, I had a certain level of autonomy. I didn't always have to run to mom and dad, I want this, I want that. I had my own resources that I could fall back on. And when the piggy bank was full, he would actually go with you to the bank to deposit it into the account. So I've had quite a healthy view of money. If money isn't there, it's not there. And I think as a teenager, Alexandra alluded to that fact, working. I had the opportunity to work from about 17 after school, do jobs here and there, and all of that was my money. So I think, you know me personally, so I'm someone who knows that money has to be worked for. You don't necessarily, not to say don't ask for help when you need it, because sometimes you really do need it, but everything you want, you have the ability to get it. And I think it doesn't mean you have the ability to get it now, but if you work consistently at it, you can achieve that. So that's how my childhood has shaped in part, because adult experiences have also added to it, but that's the foundation I had in dealing with money. And probably the final thing I'll add is also giving to people in need. That's something that we always had to do, whether it was clothes or things, or physical cash. We always had a cause that we were contributing to as a family. So that also let me know that it's not just about getting things for yourself, but you can be in a position to help other people as well.
I've picked 1 or 2 tips.
Yeah.
Alex, what's your experience like?
So my biggest financial role model is my mother, and will always be. Right from when we were young, she also inculcated the habits of saving, but we didn't have a weekly allowance. We never did. My mom would cook and provide snacks, and we weren't allowed to handle money until I think we got to JSS, and it was just exactly what it was needed for. So we would have money when we were in JSS only on Fridays, so we could buy snacks. And so she would give you exactly, I think I did the 5,000 cedis for a bit before it was changed. 50 pesos exactly for your ice cream and your pie or whatever. So she comes to get you in the afternoon. So it was when I started Wesley Girls that I had money of my own that I could save. And in school, we would have, you don't keep your money on you, you turn them over to the dorm monitors, and the money is kept for you, and then every week you're entitled to take some, which I rarely did, so that by the time I'm going home, I have enough money, and I'll use that for, but I'm a big believer in zodiac signs, and my zodiac sign is very particular about financial security, so I think just really innate, I've been very, and I'm surrounded by, my sisters are just like that, my mom is like that, so we've always been very heavy on making sure that you have money of your own. My father, on the other hand, didn't necessarily provide the best role. He wasn't the best role model in terms of money management. So I saw if you don't manage your money, how that looks like, and when you manage your money, how that looks like. Because my parents in that regard were polar opposites. And I picked my mother because we were never found wanting. We were never caught with our pants down. She always had a backup. You know, so I've always been very hypersensitive about being financially proactive, even though I started with a disadvantage. I'm very happy to say that I've never owed anybody anything. I've never been called to pay for something that I can't stand owing. And my mother made sure that I imbibed it. You cannot owe. Even your siblings, like, you do not owe each other. It was a big thing for her. And so she was that role model. But I think the gap that I experienced in my childhood is we were just told to save, what financial instruments to invest in, how to invest in. And even our banking system is very deficient when it comes to that. When when my son was born, when they do your outdooring, family and friends are so generous. Yes, so that's how I started my son's educational fund, which I've had for some time. I had to use that and start all over, but we're getting there. And I remember that when I was going in, I was trying to find other things apart from the edu plan that I could do for my son that could grow his capital base. And the banking system doesn't have a lot. I think EcoBank has something like a kiddie bank, but even then, the money is kept in trust for the child. Like, it's not something that you, as a child, you can appreciate. And I think that's where the gap is. And if it is, I think there should be a bit more education on that, because there are mothers who are willing to make the sacrifice if they can ensure that their children will be financially secure. And because my son is an only son, and it's, I'm a single parent, I'm very conscious about making sure that he has a legacy that he can build on when I'm not there. So it's a big deal for me, and that's something that I picked from my mother. As a woman, she's like, get your money first, the husband will follow. That has always been her principle.
Interesting about the kids account. I totally get where you're coming from now, because there are investment opportunities out there, but maybe nothing for the kids themselves to walk to the bank. Maybe they are not 18, but maybe let's say 13, walk to the bank themselves. And I think it would have to do with a thing of policy and the law. So it's probably something that our lawmakers would have to look into, if there can be some kind of a product that at least some teens should, if not even kids that are a bit younger and more aware, can use. Because I realize kids are smarter than we think. I took my kid for a session. I didn't even think he was listening. I was facilitating something. I didn't even think he was listening. And I realized that he kept repeating the lessons from the session. But what struck me the most was when his grandmother said he's given him 10 cedis. What would he use it for? And he said, I'll put it in my money box. I was like, whoa. So it seems like the kids are smart, but the opportunities to, put them out there, we need to have more of those.
I mean, I would say when I was growing up, my dad we used to have this agreement. So he would ask me to come and scratch his back. I became his personal assistant.
Back scratcher.
And for every service he would pay. And he had this perfume jar that he would put my payments in. And so I knew that even if it's family, work is not for free. You need to. So I picked that also from him. And for my son, my education when it comes to finances is not necessarily acquiring it, but understanding as a man what money means to you and to your family. So that's the training that I'm giving him now. I'm trying, like when we go somewhere and I'm buying something for him, I give it to him and in the car, I'm like, when you go, pay, just to see how he interacts with money and other people when he's purchasing things, whether he's extravagant with his spending. Does he go and pick everything because he thinks that there's money to pay, or is he selective? So that's what I'm observing now with the way I'm like trying to bring him up.
Okay, that answers my next question, but I just want us to throw a bit of light on what we are doing to ensure that our kids have a healthy relationship with money, which I think is very important, because we spend a lot of time taking our kids to school to acquire skills to do or make money.
Yeah.
But how do we teach them how to manage what they make so that they make the best out of it? Because after being an adult for a while, you can tell that it's not all about earning an income. Yeah. So how are you doing it? I know your kids are much younger, but
my oldest is almost 3. I think very young. But like Alex said, when we go to a shop and it's something for him, I give him the money and say, you pay for it. He's now learning numbers. The only currency he's confident on is 5 cedis. Right? So whenever we're going somewhere and he knows with it, he'll say, a patch of 5 cedis.
Oh, wow.
And that's just something for him to do. I think a lot of the way that I was brought up has been beneficial to me, and I'm looking forward to imbibing that. I think he's a bit young for a money box at the moment, probably above the age of 3, getting closer to 4, when you can actually have conversations. Now it's not exactly a dialogue. But yeah, looking forward to that. And, my husband and I talked about getting them work experience because, sometimes in a quest to provide for our kids, they become entitled.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is the last thing that you want, because it's entitled people who really don't know how to manage. Because at the end of the day, mommy and daddy will figure it out for me, or they have a trust fund somewhere that will sort things out. So I think it's important to let children know that money is a tool, but money is not always readily available, right? And I think that helps people to become resourceful and think about ideas, think about things that can generate their money using their own skills and things. I think for me, it's really about the experience and using those experiences to generate money. Like I say, money at a point should be chasing you. It shouldn't always be, I'm in pursuit of money, I'm in pursuit of money. You need to get to a point where you have honed yourself, your skills to a point that, people are calling after you, people are chasing you, and Alex puts it very perfectly, legacy, right? We do for our kids, they do for their kids, as opposed to what is currently, where you're doing for your parents, you're doing for your kids, you are left burnt out. I mean, it's the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's not the right way to go about it. We do for our kids, and if we can, their kids, and then they build upon it. So I spend a lot of time, reading about families like the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, who have built generational wealth, which is not something we really see in Africa, much less Ghana. And I think that with all the knowledge that is coming to us now, we are in a good position to lay that foundation so that it's easier for our kids to do same, and to let them know that it's not about society, because our society also places a lot of pressure on people. So sometimes you have your values, but the desire to belong outweighs common sense. And so you spend all your money to fulfill a status quo, and you end up with nothing. Yes, that's also an important thing as far as money is concerned.
Alex, how about you? What are your plans?
Like I told you, money is a very big deal for me. How people's understanding towards money. My son is 5, and I'm very blessed to have a child that's very emotionally intelligent. And so I have honest conversations about, if you said this thing about entitlement, and I'm at that stage where he feels very entitled. One of the things I'm proud of that he's never done is to go into my purse and take money from it without me knowing. But when maybe on a certain occasion he wants something and I'm unable to provide, I have an honest conversation with him, and I tell him that this is not available now, so you have to learn how to delay gratification, even at your age. And don't look at it as a disadvantage. Look at it as a discipline, because money is one of those things that before you get to the point where it is chasing, it will build character. And that character foundation is very, very important. And so in the period where you're going through a fallow time is when money is building character, so that when it comes and it comes in excess, you know what is important, you know what should be done. And that's what I'm also trying to imbibe in myself. Fortunately for me, I have friends that have a similar values. Yeah. And so if maybe they come and say, Alex, let's go out, I will immediately tell you that I'm balling on a budget, I can't be available, I need to do this. And they're very respectful of that, because they too are the same. And so that's what I'm trying. And these are things I really picked up from my mom in conversations. She really was very authentic and open about money with me. And that has shaped my relationship with money. And I want that to be the same thing that I pass on to my son. I think I'll pick some of the things that you've shared there, pick family and try and be more proactive about. I think I've relegated some of these little habits to the background. I just feel like when you talk, don't know. But sometimes they need to see. Yeah. They also need to. Yes. And our favorite place to go to was Stanbic Bank when he was a baby. Even now, they were always happy to see us. That boy is their child, the East Legon branch. So he definitely has been exposed to things that I know at the back of his mind, he thinks that sometimes you come, you say, Mommy, I want to grow up and get so much money so that I can buy you a house and things like that. And I encourage it so that he gets into the provider mentality, because I feel like now in our generation, because women are pulling their weight, men are also kind of taking the back seat when it comes to that, and I don't want him to be a casualty to that in our generation.
Interesting, very interesting conversation. Just to add to what has been said, for me, it's the realization that I have to be more intentional about the way I behave around money, because naturally I'm someone who worries, and I picked it up from my mom, because she tends to, when you mention, hey, that kind of thing. So
I think it's like Ghanaian mommy thing. Because my mom, I don't tell her the price I buy things for.
Yeah, the panic that why did you do that? You could have bought it cheaper.
What kind of shaming is this?
Yes. So these days, I'm trying to be a bit more careful about how I speak about money, and trying not to worry about money. Yes, it has come. It's there. Okay, we'll figure it out. Try not, because apart from what we tell them, and what we expose them to, they're also watching us, and it's important that we act rightly so that we can be able to bring up kids that are more, financially responsible. This has been a very great discussion, and thank you so much. I wish we could talk for like the rest of the day. I'm sure our audience has taken so many tips. I have, so I'm sure everyone has taken some tips that they can use for their own situation. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Remember, this program has been proudly brought to you by Access Pension Trust, your reliable partner in pensions. Remember to join us each and every Wednesday on Sunny FM at 9:30 a.m. for other insightful discussions. For more resources on personal finance, join the Access Money Club by visiting our website at www.accesspension.com/moneyclub. www.accesspension.com/moneyclub, and this will give you more access to insightful discussions and resources, including advices on personal finance. You can also reach us on 0302 738 555, 0302 738 555. Until next time, have a lovely day.
In this COVID-19 era, many Ghanaians have seen the need for a financial fallback plan. If you're looking to improve your financial situation or need reliable information to make sound financial decisions, join the Access Money Show, a weekly interactive session hosted by Access Pension Trust. On Access Money, we feature industry experts to cover various personal finance topics and share the success stories of sound investment decisions. Access Money, Wednesdays at 9:30 a.m. on Sunny FM. Access Pension Trust, a reliable partner in pensions.